Quite. Well, we're joined by journalist Radhika Sangani, who says it's a form of sexual assault, never acceptable. And also Aisleyne Horgan-Wallace, who says it's a form of banter and taking it seriously can trivialise more serious sexual assaults. Very good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Radhika, he was cleared of sexual assault, but you think that bottom slapping is...
Completely. I mean, when you look at the definition of sexual assault as well in the law, it's really clear on this. It says that essentially touching someone in a sexual place when it's obvious they haven't consented to this does count as sexual assault. And there's been precedents of people being arrested for this and charged and found guilty. They're often not jailed. But my point is that to me, this is a clear sexual assault. And with everything that we've seen with the hashtag #MeToo, I think it's obvious that, you know, when it comes
the judge in this case said that the whole issue in the judge's mind hinged on whether the intention was sexual or not sexual. And the judge decided, and we've looked back at the records of these cases, and it's pretty evenly split. Sometimes the man is convicted and sometimes they're let off because they've managed to argue that they didn't mean it sexually. Now, I think that the bottom is an erogenous zone.
Yeah.
So surely slapping or touching a woman's bottom, sometimes it happens the other way around, but is actually moving into a sexual area, is it not?
Well, I think it always depends on the circumstances, and we have to bear in mind there was a lot of alcohol involved here, and I myself...
Well, that's no excuse for a crime.
I know it's no excuse for a crime, but in my opinion, it's not sexual assault. You know, I actually have been sexually assaulted in the street, and to me, to class this the same as that sexual assault that happened to me that was very serious, it's always almost making a mockery of what I went through.
Isn't it less serious sexual assault? But is it not then less serious sexual assault?
But on the same spectrum?
I think you need to take into regard the circumstances. I think there was a lot of alcohol involved, and I don't think it was meant sexually. If it was meant sexually, then OK, he should have been reprimanded. I don't think it should have gone as far as it went, and I think it's a real shame that he's given us 30 years of service, and now all he's going to be remembered for is this.
Even though he's exonerated.
A lot of rapists, and I'm not remotely comparing
it's not the same.
Crimes, it's not in the same
ballpark
at all, but a lot of rapists will say, well, I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing.
It's definitely
I didn't hear
not the same, though.
So I think it's so dangerous, though, to bring in the fact that he was drunk, because to me, it, you know, as if that could ever be an excuse for committing sexual assault or a crime.
Have you never woken up with the fear in the morning thinking, oh, my goodness, what did I do? Who did I drug text?
Yeah, but I don't worry that I've sexually assaulted someone.
Well, I might slap a guy on the bottom, if I'm honest, when I'm drunk, and I might not mean anything sexually by it. It's just my banter. That's just how I am.
Why does it feel different for a woman to playfully smack a man on the bottom?
I don't think it is different. I think a man has as much right to complain about it as a woman. Absolutely.
I also, Radhika, I think if a man slaps a woman around the face, that would be classed as an assault.
Definitely.
Well, if a man slapped me on the bottom and I didn't like it, I would slap him in the face. That's what I'd do. So if you don't like it, deal with it head on.
To me, that would definitely be an assault. But also the difference is that touching someone's bum is a sexual area. It's considered a sexual area. And so that's when it becomes sexual assault. And I mean, I think for a lot of people, it's easier to visualise it in the workplace. You know, if your boss, if you're, you know, somebody... a junior and your boss suddenly grabs your ass. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's definitely...
But it's also quite degrading, isn't it? Don't you think, isn't it a touch degrading for a man to think that he can go up to a woman?
Yeah,
sometimes
I don't think
a woman
it's
he's
right.
never met.
I'm not saying, oh, come on, please, slap my ass. I'd love that.
OK, should we not use the A word?
Sorry,
at least 6:37 this morning.
You know, went right over my head. I'm sorry.
Slap my bottom, I'm so sorry. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's a nice thing to happen,
but But do you agree that sometimes it's sexual? That sometimes a man will be sexually attracted to a stranger?
Absolutely.
And as part of his brutal foreplay, will go up and smack her on the bottom.
Brutal foreplay?
Well, yes, I think it is brutish, actually.
Well, it depends if it's wanted or not.
It's all about consent.
It's consent, that's the word.
It's all about consent. Aisleyne, you mentioned you had been a victim. Was that investigated?
It was investigated. He was convicted. They found my denim underneath his nails, like... and this is in broad daylight, walking down the street on Oxford.
So he'd grabbed you?
Yeah, and then he said he was sentenced and he was deported, Wow. And he, like, really went... Let's not talk about the details.
Well, no. But how I mean, that's obviously had an impact on you.
It's definitely had an impact, but I can also see the big difference between that and somebody... You know,
that's really interesting, Radhika, isn't it? Because when you have suffered and you're a victim, you do have a different perspective perhaps, on something that you would think, come on,
Completely.
You can get over this.
Sure, and what
yeah.
happened to you sounds absolutely awful, and I'm so sorry. But at the same time, I do think that there is a scale of sexual assaults, and that some are more serious than others. Of course they are.
I just think if
touching
time
someone's
and
bottom
money
is
was
different to rape.
If people keep coming forward about being jovially tapped on the bottom, I'm just worried about the impact it has on Me Too, and people that have suffered really serious assaults might feel like they can't.
I don't
come
think anyone's
forward.
diminishing what happened to you.
No, not me personally, just women in
But
black
I also
women
don't
in general.
think it does trivialise that, because I think it's really important to remember that if we allow these sorts of things to happen without going unchecked, that's when we become a permissive culture that paves the way for more serious sexual
One last
assaults.
question, for me anyway. What would you have thought if that commander, that naval commander, had not been charged with sexual assault, but simply assault? Do you think he should have been convicted for assault? Because he slapped that woman twice. He went up to her on the dance floor and slapped her. She moved away. And a few minutes later, he went up, and it was quite hard as well. I mean, it wasn't a little grope or a fondle, which is bad. It was a hard slap. Do you think he should have been convicted of assault rather than sexual assault?
To me, I do think it's more of a sexual assault than an assault.
All right, but I'm just asking, do you think that, would you have been a little bit more satisfied if he'd been convicted of assault?
Not really for me, because I don't think it's that level for me. It's definitely more of a
All right,
sexual
it has to
thing.
be sexual assault.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was found not guilty of anything, so that's what we have to remember, and remember the 30 years that he has given us in good service.
Ashley, thank you very much indeed, and for
welcome.
being so open as
That's
well.
okay.
Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Radhika,
That's okay.
thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
And we forgive you for your foul language.
I'm so sorry.
It's graceful.